everybody, Chris Bledsoe. Hey! Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you all for being here. It's a huge blessing. I don't know if you made my lecture yesterday, or when a lecture was a workshop, but I'm totally grateful we had a full house, and it was overwhelming to me. You know, I never thought that I'd have such a warm reception from everyone after I wrote this book. I was terrified when I wrote it that it wouldn't be received. And so I think every author that does that stresses real bad what's going to happen when you put it out in the public. But anyhow, thank you. Thank you for all the support. And I'm going to dive into the story. So if some of you don't know it, I have a book out here called Ufo of God. And I wrote the book, and I started writing. In 2022, I started planning early 2022 to write this thing. And I grappled with it for months. Should I, shouldn't I? Should I, shouldn't I? Long story short, when I made the decision to write it, I was outside on Easter of 2022. And I just looked up to the heavens and I asked the lady if I should write this book. And when I did, within a second, this orb appeared over the pond. I put my camera on and started filming it. And out of my right eye, because I'm using a monocular, right? Out of my right eye, when I caught this thing coming out of the sky, glowing red, it was burning. It looked like it was on fire. And suddenly these huge wings come out. And it started flapping its wings. It was glowing red, came right over my head, turned to white, made a 90-degree turn, flew out of sight. I filmed it. I have it on film. It was big as a Cessna or bigger airplane. And so I reckon you understood. I decided at that moment I was going to write that book. And so I did. I started in November of 2022, and by February, it was published. So I wrote it pretty quick. I went to bed every night. I'd go out and I'd say a prayer, give me the words. And I'd get up in the morning and I wrote this book on my cell phone, on a cell phone, of all things. So that's how I did it. I did it in 6 months. And I was terrified. But enough of that. January the 8th of 2007 is when this event happened that changed my whole life and my family's life, why we're here today. And there's a lot of things that that led up to that, I'd have to say, that event. And my daughter made me a few notes earlier. I hope you can all hear me if it's not too loud. Things that I should mention that I think impacted this whole what's happening today. When I was 10 years old, I was a little guy. I grew up in the woods on a farm in North Carolina, carrying a shotgun in my hand when I was little. Shot my first deer at 5. At 10, I was shot point blank in the back from 6 foot away. Blew a hole in me the size of an orange, right here. I have lead in my chest and shoulder still to this day. Something saved me from that. And I don't know what it was, but the doctor said I was the luckiest human alive. And why I wanted to go back to that, my book refers to these tragedies that happened throughout from my early life. From 2 years old, I got burned really bad, 3rd-degree burns, all my legs here and stuff. By the time I was 10, I was shot. And then there's a lot more in the book about accidents, weird accidents that happened, from cars blowing up to scaffolding collapsing, to where I thought in my mind, something's really trying to kill me. That's what I thought. Something wants me not to be here. And so it put this PTSD within me, dealing with that thought, right? And the gunshot did it. That was a tragic, severe trauma that I can't tell you. I still cry about it today when I think about it, because it was so stressful. But so enough of that. We're going to fast forward to 2001. I was a successful builder, building 100 homes a year. Had been for about 20 years. World Trade Center thing happened. Living in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. They shut down all housing. So here I am with 72 houses under construction, 27 finished. Interest rates on the houses alone were $40,000 a month. Just paid payments to the bank. So 20 years worth of work started going out the window. And by the time I sold the business 2 years later, or it was 2004, 5. So it was 4 years later. I had nothing. I was broke. I was sick. Had Crohn's disease. I lost my home. I lost everything. They're living in $1 million home on the golf course with a pool in the back. Now my kids are living in a mobile home with no floor and no cabinets. I couldn't buy school lunch. So imagine where I was. By the time 2007 rolls around, I'd gone through another near-death experience. Had a doctor poison me, over-medicated me. And that was tragic. It took me years to get over that. But here I am in 2007, just now trying to do some kind of work. Wasn't able to with Crohn's and everything that was happening. It was it was the worst time. And I began to think things I didn't want to think. You know, like I wanted to die. It's a terrible thing to be in that spot. And all I could think about is these kids, how much I loved them. And that's all that matters to me. And so on January the 8th of 2007, my son, Chris Jr., he's sitting right here. I can't see him, but there he is. This is his first time coming public in 18 years. You stand up. So he was 17 years old. And he'd quit school because he was worried about me so bad. He's always been right up under me. And Mom had to take the business over because I couldn't go to work. And she's over her head, running a Remax Realty company. Now she's running the building side. And it's weighing on her bad every way. So Junior stays home to stay with me. He didn't finish high school. And then we lose our home. So now we do this little job 2 hours out of town. We come home. to celebrate. 4 months later, after the job was over, we wanted to celebrate. So we go down to the Cape Fear River on January the 8th during a cool winter day. Got there about 2:30 in the evening, and I was done. I mean, all I could think about was bad things. But I was putting on a big front for my family and children, and these 3 grown men that were with us, they were crew leaders that worked on the house. So they got to fishing. They're sitting on the bank of the river, had their little sticks in the dirt with forks and the pole standing up. And I'm never fishing. I'm just watching them. Once they got situated, I told them, I said, I'm gonna walk down in the woods here and sit around a tree somewhere and see if I can see some wildlife. So they said, okay. About 3 o'clock, I left walking. I came back about 4:30, I'd say, because it started getting dark in the forest. 5 o'clock in the summer or in the wintertime, the sun starts setting. 6 o'clock.
This is real stuff, I'm telling you. John Alexander, Colonel John Alexander, is a very close friend to this family.